We'll go ahead and call tonight's regular city council meeting to order. Tonight's indication, we have Pastor Carlos Campbell from the Calvary Baptist Church.
Let's pray. God, thank you so much for who you are. Thank you so much for your love and for your sacrifice. Thank you for always pursuing us and wanting us to have a relationship with you. Father, I pray for everyone that's in this room. I pray for all the leaders that are in here. Father, I know that you've placed them in a position of leadership for a reason and for a purpose, and I pray that they do your will and do according to what you want. Father, I pray for everyone that's in here. Allow the agenda and all the things that are going to be discussed to be glorifying to you. Allow them to serve the city and the people that you've called them to. And I just pray that we would lay aside any egos or pride and, Father, do what is best. Father, again, thank you so much for your love, for your kindness, and what you're going to do today. We love you, and we pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Larry Bud.
Here.
Tom Bertle.
Here.
Larry Dorchenez.
Here.
Rob Heatherly. Bruce Jones.
Here.
Rocky Moore.
Here.
Martin Voda.
Here.
Earl Walters.
Here.
All 8 aldermen present. First, we have a motion to utilize the omnibus vote for approval of the minutes of the previous meetings and the public hearing listed on tonight's agenda under title Omnibus Vote Designation. Alderman Dorchenez and second by Alderman Jones. Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Tom Bertle.
Yes.
Larry Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Rocky Moore.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, the minutes we'll be approving will be the minutes of the public hearing held May 2nd, 2016. Minutes of the regular meeting held May 2nd, 2016. Minutes of the Emergency Services Committee meeting held May 5th, 2016. Minutes of the Personnel Committee meeting held May 5th, 2016. Minutes of the Special City Council meeting held May 10th, 2016. Minutes of the Water Environmental Committee meeting held May 12th, 2016. And minutes of the Lake Airport Committee meeting held May 12th, 2016. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved, Your Honor.
Alderman Walters, second Alderman Everly. Discussion or comment? Roll call, please.
Larry Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Rocky Moore.
Yes.
Martin Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Tom Bertle.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, last week was a good week for us. In fact, the week before that as well. I'd like to recognize a couple of people there, a couple of our employees. I want to start off with Alan Mills. The Optimist, for the first time, held a community event to recognize the people in law enforcement. And they had, it ran for probably 2 months where they had people call in and make recommendations on who they thought should be the Officer of the Year. Well, I'm proud to say that the Taylorville Police Department had one of the officers that made the finalists, the final 3, and that was Alan Mills. They couldn't have picked up a better person. I could have argued strongly that he could have been number 1, but they also, Christian County also had a good choice as well. But I wanted on our own level to thank Alan for what he's done and to recognize him for that. So I've got a proclamation here for him. And it's a long one, so I hate to read it. I will.
We should make him read it.
Whereas throughout this nation's history, law enforcement officers have played a major role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms which are guaranteed by the Constitution and protecting the lives and property of our citizens. And whereas in every community, law enforcement officers are committed to preservation of life and property, often risking their lives to protect us from those who mock the law, providing us protection, maintaining law and order, and serving the cause of justice. And whereas it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the dedicated service and courageous deeds of law enforcement officers and for the contributions they have made to the security and well-being of all our people. And whereas as mayor of the city of Taylorville, it is my honor to join with the Taylorville Optimist Club to honor Officer Alan Mills of the Taylorville Police Department for being named as a finalist in the 2016 Taylorville Optimist Club's Police Officer of the Year contest. On behalf of the citizens of Taylorville, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for the tremendous service given by Officer Mills and to thank him as he continues to work diligently to protect us through the enforcement of our laws. So therefore, be it proclaimed on this day, May 16, 2016, that the Mayor and City Council of Taylorville, on behalf of its citizens, do hereby publicly salute Officer Mills on being a finalist in this year's Taylorville Optimist Club's Police Officer of the Year contest. Additionally, we urge other local governments and municipalities, patriotic, civic, and educational organizations, and residents to join us in not only honoring Officer Mills, but also in honoring their own local law enforcement officers, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of the citizens they serve. So Alan, if you don't mind, come up here, and we'd like to get to see you. And I got Sean, get on the other side of you here. That way it makes you look even taller. Thank you very much.
Run the gauntlet.
I will say it takes a special kind of person to be a police officer. They have to be courageous, intelligent, they really think on their feet, obviously, and if they can't do that, and a lot of people can't, they can always become firemen. I'm sorry. Moving on. A couple weeks ago, I learned that we also had he was awarded a great honor from the Illinois Emergency Services Management Association as their Coordinator of the Year. So we got one for him as well. It says, whereas in every community, first responders are committed to the preservation of life and property, often risking their lives to protect us. And whereas emergency services coordinators understand that both emergency response equipment and manpower are limited in availability, making it vitally important that these assets are managed in a way that ensures their optimal utilization. And whereas it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the dedicated service of our emergency services coordinators and for the contributions they have made to the security and well-being of all our people. And whereas it is an honor to join with the other members of the Taylorville City Council in congratulating Fire Chief Mike Cruz on being named Coordinator of the Year by the Illinois Emergency Services Management Association. On behalf of the citizens of Taylorville, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for the tremendous service given by Chief Cruz and to thank him as he continues to work diligently to help keep the residents of this area safe. So therefore be it proclaimed on this day, May 16, 2016, that the members of the Taylorville City Council do on behalf of the city residents hereby publicly salute Taylorville Fire Chief Mike Cruz on his selection as Coordinator of the Year. Thank you, Mike. And we've got our employees doing so many good things. I've run out of proclamations, but I also saw in the paper where Bob Dunn was won the Volunteer of the Year here in the city of Taylorville. So you see Bob, make sure and thank him and congratulate him on that honor. All right. Next thing, I think all the aldermen are aware. You can put copies of this letter in your mailboxes to make sure you've got them. Alderman Rocky Moore has decided to resign effective June 1st. I hope to appoint a replacement on June 6th at our regular city council meeting. Speaking for myself, and I would imagine that the other council members would echo my thoughts, I hate to see Rocky go. But I certainly understand that we all have certain priorities that must come first. I certainly wish him the best on, whatever follows. And I want to thank him for his service, not only as an alderman, but for his 39 years of service, as an employee for the city of Taylorville. He's done great things, and we certainly do appreciate those. So, Rocky, we'll miss you. Would you like to make any comments yourself?
No.
All right. Move on to, motion, okay. Yeah, we have to do this correctly. I'll need a motion to accept Alderman Moore's resignation, effective June 1st, 2016. Somebody make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Alderman Walters, second by Alderman Bertle. Discussion or comment? Roll call.
Rob Heatherly,
Yes.
Bruce Jones,
Yes.
Rocky Moore,
Yes.
Martin Boda,
No.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Eddie Dorchenez.
Yes. Motion passes 7-1. Just a legal question, if that didn't pass, he couldn't leave, is that how it works? At least it's documented in the minutes, so.
Does the mayor have to vote on that?
All right, next I would ask the planning commission chair, Joe
Yes.
Hauser.
Vote yes.
Okay, and I vote yes.
Question. There's corporate authority, so he should vote.
Yeah.
Okay. You get that now? Okay.
Being on the ball.
Mr. Hauser, would you please address the council on the outcome of your meeting?
Your Honor, members of the Board of Aldermen, Planning and Zoning Commission met this evening to discuss a rezoning request made by Sullivan Assad to rezone from residential 1, R1, to commercial 1, or C1, property located and addressed at 1102 East Poplar Street. There was a public hearing, by the way, before that, for those of you who weren't here, and no one in the neighborhood showed in opposition to it. Didn't seem to be any reason to deny his request. So, the Planning and Zoning Commission members, after some discussion, voted unanimously to recommend to the City Council approval of Mr. Assad's request. And there being no other business brought before the Planning and Zoning Commission, we adjourn at 6:12. Great title.
Thank you.
Motion to accept the planning zoning commission recommendation. Second, Travis.
Second by
And
Alderman
to adopt
Walters.
the ordinance as presented, amending the zoning classification of this property to C1.
Couldn't have said it any better.
And have the Alderman Walters second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Bruce Jones,
Yes.
Rocky Moore,
Yes.
Martin Boda,
Yes.
Earl Walters,
Yes.
Larry Bud,
Yes.
Sean Bertle,
Yes.
Eddie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Thank you very much. That brings us to city attorney updates.
5 quick matters, gentlemen, first of which is I've given to you, I think, a few days ago, a redraft of a proposed agreement with SNAWS regarding water for the Calvary Baptist Church and to Breckenridge. I asked that if either notify the mayor individually or notify me individually of any comments or suggested revisions. Otherwise, I'd like to, with the direction of the mayor, to get this sent to SNAWS's attorney. I understand there has now become some kind of a time crunch to, if we're going to do this, is to get it moved so that they don't lose the grant funds and go on to their phase 2 and not be able to use these funds for this particular project. So I ask that you get in contact with me or the mayor in the next couple of days, please. Second of all is that you received a memorandum from me, a legal memorandum, as to my interpretation of the Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement with Pana. You all have had it, so you're free to share that with anyone, I suppose, but just my legal opinion on it, and I think it'll speak for itself. The other matter I want to bring to your attention, I just received yesterday some emails from your bond counsel on your Phase 5 Kenton Addition Storm Sewer Project, both the $1 million one and the $3.1 million one. As you know, the 30-day time period has passed. May 12th was the expiration date. No petition was filed seeking the referendum, so he's moving forward with the IEPA and drafting documents, and he sent those to me yesterday. So in the near future, you'll be seeing some proposed documents for your execution or approval. The other thing is probably not next meeting, but your first meeting in July, you'll probably be asked to consider annexation of the senior villages for a parking lot. I hope to get that here for you this evening, but there was some discrepancy in the paperwork that they filed, so it's going to be redrafted and taken care of. Then finally, the mayor asked me to take a look at your proposed Central Illinois Enforcement Group interagency agreement. I understand it's going to be referred to committee. I also understand that this is an update of an agreement that you've already done in the past. I just ask you to take a look at it. In fact, I think you've already got a participation in it, I'm told, with an officer already. But this is where the city partners with the Illinois State Police, Christian County, Pana, and some other surrounding communities where each one can donate, if you will, or assign a particular full-time police officer to this task force for purposes of discovering drug offenses of that nature. As I read the agreement, the city still pays the salary for that officer, still provides a vehicle for that officer, pays all the expense for that vehicle, and all the upkeep and insurance for it. The one thing I would ask the committee to take a look at before the committee, maybe the chairman can contact your insurance agent, because as I see the agreement, that officer will be protected, or at least the state, the state police will protect him from liability for any civil false arrest. But I didn't see what happens if he himself or she gets injured while on that, or does something else to hurt someone else. I don't know if that's covered. I'd ask you to take a look at that, make sure your insurance agent says, yes, the city's policy will cover that. It wasn't, I didn't see it in that particular agreement, but take a look at that. So I don't know when your next committee, police committee is that?
First Monday.
First Monday in okay.
Thursday in June.
Thursday. All right. So if you have any questions, Sean, just feel free to email me, I can kind of clarify. Is there any questions?
On the last subject.
Yes.
What you're questioning is work comp coverage for whoever is assigned to the
Yes.
task force, and then liability to protect him.
For the
against-
city.
Or for the city.
As if, say there's a shooting, okay, for example, or in the course of operating a motor vehicle on business is to, and then you get an accident, what kind of liability is that? Only thing I saw addressed in that agreement was protection for civil suits for like false arrests and things of that nature. It didn't cover everything. Or it may just be something that they just overlooked or what have you, but someone ought to have insurance coverage for those events. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we can look back on, we obviously crossed this hurdle
You had
years
to,
ago.
You had to, because the question would come up, is this particular individual considered for purposes of insurance, an employee of the city or an employee of the task force? And those kind of things, triggers work comp, triggers liabilities. So I just ask you to take another look at that.
I think when we came back to the city, but we'll verify.
Gotcha. Any other questions?
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Moving on to mayor updates. This past Saturday, they had the SB Edwards Youth Fishing Tournament held once again, and we had a number of young anglers braving the cold and the wind. I want to thank Alderman Earl Walters and Superintendent Alan Jackson for working with the parents and the volunteers to ensure that all the kids in attendance had a great experience. And despite the weather conditions, Earl tells me they caught how many fish?
169 fish were caught by 37 children.
They did well. All right, on Wednesday of this week, we have two entities that are holding ceremonies to celebrate milestones related to their years of service. Alexander Lumber will be celebrating 125 years in business and will offer food and drink and some great deals at their Taylorville location on Cheney Street. And that'll go from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And that's this Wednesday, and they'll have to have a ribbon cutting at 11 a.m. Then the Taylorville Post Office will be holding its centennial celebration for its building, and that will take place at 1 o'clock, also on Wednesday. And then just a reminder, on Thursday, instead of having our Thursday committee meetings, we moved that to Wednesday so that we would be available on Thursday if you want to attend the Christian County CEO trade show. It's being held at Lincoln Land Community College. That's from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And I urge everyone, if you can, to come out and look at what these young people have done. They've had their business plans, they've actually put their business together, and now putting it in action, making products. And it's a wonderful thing, and we're supporting them financially, but we can support them, you know, by going out and looking at what they've done. That's just that much more. So I urge you to do that if you can. That's all I have. We'll move on to committee reports. Discussions and or motions to approve, adopt, and or deny, and or table, and or amend, and refer to an appropriate committee in whole or in part the matters regarding the following subject matters discussed at the committee level. Start with Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had one motion, a motion to bid and or advertise a heavy equipment operator position in the water department pending a bid award. I offer that as a motion with comment.
Okay, can I get a second? When voted, go ahead with the comment, Alderman Hamlin.
We have subsequently had a crew leader position awarded at the water department, and because of that, we do need to post this bid.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
One question,
Go ahead.
and I forgot to ask this at committee, and I apologize. On that, would they have to be a heavy equipment operator to bid on this position?
I would think they would have to be qualified to bid on this position if it's being bid as a heavy equipment operator.
Okay, just want to make sure that on that bid, it was stated as such.
It's being bid as a heavy, so I would think that anyone wishing to place their name on that bid would have to be qualified to obtain that position. Does that answer your question?
It does, but somebody could, you know, if it doesn't, they're bidding the position as a heavy operator. And if it's not written down that you must already be qualified as a heavy operator to get that position. So it's gonna be a lateral transfer from one position to another. Okay? If they don't get it bid, then they'll have to advertise, correct?
Well,
That's correct.
well, but they don't, I mean, Dave can help me out here, they don't actually have to be heavy now if they have those skills. I mean, in theory, right? They can go ahead and bid for it, just be in a union.
No, yeah, I mean, anybody can sign the sheet, and it goes down to who's the most qualified. So it may be a heavy equipment operator, it may be an equipment operator that's got the necessary license and wants to move up into that position, depends on qualifications first. Qualification being equal, it goes to seniority. So it could be somebody that's qualified but not a heavy, or it could be a heavy equipment operator that's doing a lateral transfer.
Okay.
Either one would have the opportunity to bid on it.
What I'm saying is if nobody else would have bid and a laborer were to bid to that position, would they get that?
If they have to meet the qualifications.
I just wanted to make sure that the qualification was that they were already a heavy equipment operator.
There are
Or had the
qualifications.
licenses to be able to move up to
Yeah,
that.
Class A, CDL, that kind of stuff. You have to have
Okay.
qualifications.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Roger Moore?
Yes.
Mark Voda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Larry Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherly?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Moving on to Water Environmental Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. First motion is to direct City Attorney Romano to draft a new Village of Wamonica intergovernmental agreement to present to the Water Committee to review. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion and I have a comment.
Any second? Second, Alderman Boda. Go ahead, Alderman Dorchenez.
We'd like to look at Langleyville's especially. And I guess my question is, as we discussed it, what if we get when we get your agreement back that you draft, then we'll discuss the water rates in the committee. And then what if, even though you've ascertained that the current contract is null and void because of the length of time, the 60 years it was written, Mr. Mazur was here at the meeting and they don't agree with us. So what would happen next? If they say, no, they think that we got a good contract, or we're not gonna sign it, and we're not gonna agree with it, then what would be the next step?
If they don't agree to sign a proposed revised agreement, or one that's further negotiated with them, their recourse is to go to the court system and have someone else take a look at it from a legal standpoint and rule whether or not the contract is indeed null and void. They have that right, if they want to go that way.
And in the meantime, as far as the building rate, could we still establish a rate, and then depending on the outcome of that,
Sure. And if the court says that we're wrong, Now, it has to go back to a different rate, that would be probably the court's order, and relief they would seek. But I'm fairly confident with the fact that it's not important.
Any other questions? Roll
Somebody
call.
want to spend enough.
Martin Boda? Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherly?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Rocky Moore?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
The next motion was to accept the low quote of $13,763.15 for lab testing fees from the Illinois EPA for the 2016-2017 sampling period. I'd like to make that in form of a motion.
Okay, a second on that?
Second.
And Bud, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherly?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Rocky Moore?
Yes.
Martin Boda?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
Next motion was to accept the low bid of $10,525 from HD Supply Waterworks for service line materials. I'd like to make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, a second on that?
Second, Chairman.
Then Alderman Walters, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherly?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Rocky Moore?
Yes.
Martin Boda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
The next motion was to direct City Attorney Romano to draft a new intergovernmental agreement for the Water Committee to review, and after their approval to engage in discussion with Kincaid. I'd like to make that in form of a motion to comment.
A second on that?
Second.
Alderman Boda, go ahead with the comment on the motion.
Okay, their contract expires in January of 2017, so we have up until, okay, that's not true, 2019, we have 24 months prior to that to negotiate any changes. So that time frame will expire in January of 2017. So we've got from now to January to come up with an agreement. Okay. And we'd also like you to look at what we've done for Langleyville in that agreement.
I read the minutes, so I think
Okay.
Superintendent?
We have 24 months prior to notify them of our intent. We don't have to get it done at that time. We just have to be at least 24 months to notify them that we intend to not let it continue. So we don't have to have it done in that period.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Sean Bertle?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherly?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Rocky Moore?
Yes.
Martin Boda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
And the last motion was to forward the I.L. Warren membership agreement to City Attorney Romano for review. I can make that form of a motion.
Okay, a second on that?
Second, John.
Alderman Walters, discussion or comment? Roll call.
Bernie Dorchenez?
Yes.
Rob Heatherly?
Yes.
Bruce Jones?
Yes.
Rocky Moore?
Yes.
Martin Boda?
Yes.
Earl Walters?
Yes.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Bertle?
Motion passes 8-0.
I don't know if it's appropriate for Mr. Speaker to provide us some information at this point in time, or wait till later.
I think if you like, if
It's about the same.
would you like to address the council regarding the potential site of the new water plant and what has come up?
We've got our letter from the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency on their ruling of whether we need a phase 2 study. I just got it about a half hour before I came, so they've ruled they basically we either have to do a phase 2 or don't do anything with that site. So that's all I have now. I don't have costs for a phase 2, what all that would entail. So for any logistics with that. So what we will probably do right now at this point, since that will, regardless that whatever route we do will take some time, we'll probably notch that portion out. We'll lose 2 lagoons and continue with the design and the proceed with the loan application and stuff like we are, minus those 2 lagoons, and try to readdress that later, as opposed to continually holding the whole project up. So, but I'll have more information coming as we get it. So.
So you can build golf courses, just not water plants.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Superintendent Spiegel, and also with our city attorney here, does the city of Taylorville have any legal recourse or other recourse that we can get around this? This is totally ridiculous.
If the IHPA does the sign off, you won't get an EPA permit to build. one of the criteria of the EPA before they sign a construction permit is approval by the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency. So without their approval, you can't get a construction permit. So you can't build anything. You can't, we have to go, we put water mains in to get a construction permit for that. The Illinois Historic Preservation Agency has to sign off on those, and those are generally really easy. It's a public street, we're taking up part of the boulevard, putting it in. Those are pretty easy. They looked at the site for the lake, they didn't have an issue with it. If you remember though, originally they didn't have a problem with any of the sites.
Right.
Applied well ahead of time, just so that when this happened, we'd have time to deal with it. They said, no, you don't need a permit. We reapplied 2 years later, and they said, now you need to do the study. So I haven't much an issue with that. Part of it probably is the whole thing. So I don't know, and I've emailed the engineers a couple questions pertaining to that. What recourse do you have as far as this? And we sent a letter contesting the decision because we had all the spoil in. That was the back part where you teed across a little like ravine, so we couldn't mow that, so we actually took spoil from several different jobs in town and dumped in there, and we shaved up a little point of the hill, kind of shaved it down. So whether we shaved it off and uncovered it or hauled that in from somebody's yard here in town, you don't know, because that's the area. So and we put that in our submission to them, and apparently that didn't weigh enough over Pearl there. So.
Thank you.
Alderman Bertle.
Well, this kind of piggyback on Earl's question. He said at one point they told us we didn't have to do this, and now they're saying that we do. Is that some kind of legal recourse there? I mean, how can you say, okay, no, you don't have to do something, now I've changed my mind, I think you did?
Well, the state can do a number of things.
Well, that's why they're running everybody out of the state.
You know, I'm not fully familiar with this, I'll need to defer at this point, but I think I'll defer the qualified remarks by paralegal Spiegel here. I think said it well, and I can look into it, but states that they do about what they want, so that's the problem. They're holding it, what I'm hearing him tell us is they're holding the permit. You can't get a permit to build a thing unless you can play by the rules, and they dictate what the rules are, unfortunately. You can take them to probably challenge in a court of claims or challenge in a court of competent jurisdiction, but it's going to keep delaying the project.
So short term, we'll remove 2 lagoons from the project, and we'll continue leaving that section. And then if we get this resolved at a later date, then we can add them back in. Another permit, they'll be shipping at that time be an issue, but that's probably what we'll do now. Otherwise, it'll hold the entire project up longer than it already has. It's already pushing us off in the next construction season, which was bad enough, but that's what we'll probably do. I have a meeting with Jamie Thursday. I'm going over, and that's one of the topics we're going to discuss now that we've got the letter. So.
I think this president does need to water that path. All right, let's control the things we can control. Let's go to the Lake Airport Committee.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. We had 2 motions come out of the recent Lake Airport Committee meeting. The first of which was a motion to give downtown Taylorville.org approval to place the Veterans Point Memorial at the lake, subject to final approval of the city for its site location, and design upon approval of a qualified engineer stating this area is appropriate. I'll place that in the form of a motion, Your Honor.
Okay, get a second on that.
Second, John.
Alderman Walters. Questions, comments? Roll call.
Rob
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Rocky Moore.
Yes.
Martin Boda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Ray Martinez.
Yes. Motion passes 8-0.
The second motion was a motion to allow Rick Peters to install a boat lift on Lake Lot 339. That's that motion.
A second on that. Thanks. Alderman Bertle. Discussion and comment? Roll call.
Bruce Jones.
Yes.
Rocky Moore.
Yes.
Martin Boda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Burdell.
Yes.
Ray Martinez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0.
One comment, Your Honor, just so everybody's aware, the lake has become a phone magnet, so be careful when you have your phones around the lake.
Finally, we have a motion to approve and ratify payment of bills in the amount of $429,190.80. Entertain a motion to approve. Alderman Bud, can I get a second?
Second.
Alderman Boda? All right. Alderman Bud, what is your comment?
Well, before I go down through the bills, if any of you look through the sheets that they give us, they've got $70,000 for Bodine Electric in the sewer department, and that was for the upgrades for the 6 or 7 traffic lights on 29 and surrounding areas. And I questioned that bill coming out of sewer, that is nothing to do with sewer, that is a street issue or a motor fuel tax. So I went back and looked at the budget that Superintendent Wiseman submitted, and if you go to his 2016-2017, he has maintenance of traffic lights, and in that he has on the bottom of it, it's $70,000 replacing lights at 6 intersections to LED. States reimburse their share of the cost for each intersection, and that's in line item 010-5-410-519. We either need to take that out of that line item, or I'm going to ask that the bill be held, because I don't believe that sewer should be paying for the repairs to the traffic lights.
So, what kind of recommendation do we have? I mean, if it, like anything else, if we owe the bill, we owe $70,000. Our only question is where does the money come from? Which account does it come out of?
Well, if you look at his budget, it would come out of that line item that I just said.
Right. So, again, my thought process is we owe the money. We should go ahead and authorize payment of it and then determine where it comes from correctly. Does that make sense?
Right. But I just wanted to make everybody aware of that in that, that area. Okay, electric, 24,764.01, fuel, 9,952.88, garbage, 2,539.34, telephone, 1,259.81, Big R, Ace, Urban, Taylorville fees and miscellaneous, 3,965.30, unique temporary help, 4,929.35, computer tech, 6,033.58, U.S. Bank for miscellaneous, 4,169.01, United States Post Office for stamps, 1,000, KMRM for the official bond, 1,050, Illinois Department of Unemployment, 5,771, Meyer Austin Romano for OB and legal fees, 5,154. Lincoln Land Community College, 2 of 3 years contribution. This is for the CEO program, 1,000. Green and Bradford, 3,403.52. Columbus Quarry, 2,990.53. Barbeck Communications, 1,499.50. Certified Labs for Dieselmate, 1,117.62. The Fire Department, Max Safety, Fire and Safety, for miscellaneous, 1,217.45. Sewer Department, Schneider Reynolds for rent of a concrete saw, 1,681.80. Street Department, Gator Springs, Fernie Springs, 1,713.60. Battery Specialist for the new golf cart, 3,501.80. Drake's Drugs Equipment for the bucket truck repairs, 12,210.82. Lewis Marsh, 5,322.53. Joe Tolis, 17,326.40. Bodine Electric, for traffic signal repairs other than the LED lights, 9,656.77. Water Department, Benton and Associates, 187,568.16. IMCO for supplies, 1,387.70. Industrial Process Equipment Pump Repair, 5,100. Midwest Meter, 1,320.36. Chemicals, 10,468.60. Lake Department dropped 29 customs for supplies, 1,097.85. Jenner Ag, 1,229.21. And on this total of this 341,202, we'll need to add back in the 70,000 because wasn't sure what we were going to do that. So the 70 would be added to that.
So we did 429, 190, 80. All right, any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Rocky Moore.
Yes.
Mark Voda.
Yes.
Earl Walters.
Yes.
Larry Bud.
Yes.
Sean Bertle.
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez.
Yes.
Rob Heatherly.
Yes.
Bruce Jones.
Yeah. Motion passes 8-0. Okay, for subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06, this portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. Would anyone out there like to address the council? All right, seeing no additional items on the agenda, I entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Bertle, second by Voda. Discussion or comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion passes. Meeting adjourns at 7:39.